right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Margin, Darth, Aiden, Closer, the Fade Doctor. Morning, guys. All right. Interesting day yesterday, pretty much exactly as we expected. Sort of frothy upside, CPI, NVIDIA news, talked about the pullbacks, talked about waiting for pullbacks, and yeah, pretty spot on. So, great day yesterday. Discipline beats luck. That's right. Every day, every time, every single time. But yeah, yesterday we sort of knew, hey, pullback longs are always going to be the best in a bullish market. We got way too frothy in the pre-market, and we closed pretty much that entire gap today. All day yesterday was pretty much just sideways to then sort of end of day slippage, giving back the CPI move, giving back the NVIDIA earnings, or not earnings, the NVIDIA news move, the China news. And we're back at our key demands again. 62.60, 22.9. So same spots, same channel, same everything. Nothing really changes. You should remember this market. This market was not too long ago in May. We had the exact same market, man. You have a channel, you scalp, you take profits, you don't expect continuation. And I hope that May period, we talked about it every day. We said this is going to teach you something. This is going to make you a better trader. And I hope that your expectations here are, similar to what we saw in May, because it's the same exact thing. So don't get too excited about pre-market moves. Don't trust continuation until that channel breaks. Take that win. That's what we did yesterday on Broadcom. Beautiful Broadcom pullback long off previous day high. Trusted it. Trusted the levels, scalped out of it, took my profits, and went to the gym and got the hell out of here, man. That's the name of the game right now. Until we break this channel, until we get something going, I would just continue to take your wins or your losses. Don't make it worse. Don't be greedy, and accept that 1 or 2 trades per day and get the hell out, man. Until something starts to form, that's the best thing to do. So today we are right back in the same channel. There is no difference. We are exactly at the exact same points we were last week. This week, it's all the same. It's the same spots, same levels, same spots. Nothing has changed. Don't expect anything crazy. And we'll obviously review all of that again today. PPI data, we have that today at 8:30, so we'll be here live for that. Yeah, Wednesday, hump day, mentorship day. We'll be live with the mentorship group today. ADR live on the Discord. Boom Wednesday. So exciting day. All right. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Appreciate you guys for the support. We've been doing well. It's been slowing down a little bit, but we're staying steady. We're a growth stock, long-term growth stock. Value. It's a value name. Recessions don't hit us. Safety. Fight for safety. Desi's channel. We're like the McDonald's of the stock market, man. All right. Let's jump in. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's do it. We're back to the circle today. It's just easier. So we got the circle back. You got me in a nice round circle here. Pull everything over. All right. Okay. Good to go. Is this a little low? Move that up a little bit. Here we go. You like the circle better? All right. Love it. So, NASDAQ futures. We went up on NVIDIA's news. We held 23,000. We went up to the 23.2. We failed. We failed back under 23,100. And that was pretty much it, right? Once we saw that fail of 23,100, you can see right here, 23,100, we got below it. Once we failed that, late day, that was sort of the crusher. You can also see, I'll actually talk about the ES in just a second, which is actually cleaner. The fails back under 63.15, man. That was it. It was very clear yesterday on the intraday after we failed back under 63.15. Highs, 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 right? Just a very clean fail back below. And that is, pretty self-explanatory. Yesterday, we posted this in the group intraday. We said, hey, if we're failing back under 63.15, that's sort of sketchy. That's a sketchy fail, right? Highs, 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 highs. Yesterday, didn't hold 63.15. Try to, right? Try to. If you look at this on the 15-minute, it was actually the best trade of the day. And I think Ty, shout out Ty Gatz. Ty, I think traded this yesterday. So, to anyone else that traded this, congratulations. Beautiful trade, right? 63.15, tried to hold, break, retest, right there, rejections, bam, beautiful. Nice little scalp to the downside, break and retest rejection, right off 63.15, right off our key level. So after that, right, bear flag, back into 63.15, another failure. So beautiful level there on the ES, very self-explanatory, using key levels, not using a bias, not using, luck or anything like that, just right off that key spot. So reading the key levels continues to be the king, and really nice. We had that exact spot yesterday in our pre-market analysis. So today, 23,100 to 23,050 looks to be your news, just sort of rejection area. Rejections, 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 rejections. And you can see today it's probably going to get pretty difficult to get back above that 23.1 to 23,050. All right, it's not going to be easy to trade back into this high and not fail again in these rejection areas. All right, very clear. So if we do trade back up into here, please be careful of something like this again. All right, that could easily be a failure. Anything between 23.1 and 23,050 is not somewhere to be aggressively long into. All right, that could easily fail. So be careful of that. Very clear, very self-explanatory. I would be paying very close attention to that. If we can reclaim 23.1, that would be interesting, right? A reclaim back above 23.1. Now that would be interesting if we can get that for the long side. I would like that. If we can get that, I would look for it. That would probably drive us back up to the highs if we can do that move. So that would be the first bullish move to look for. To the downside, you are holding an important demand. So it's not like you're, this is the end. It's, oh my God, we went down yesterday and here it's over. That's not true. It's still very much a potentially higher low, really. Right? This could be a very clear higher low forming. And the demand that's stepping up today is right at our 22.9, right? Right at our previous highs. Look at this. Previous major high, previous major high. Look at these lows, right, that have sort of developed throughout the week, and look at this low again at 22.900. So if this 22.900 can hold true, that would be a potential higher low, and maybe this is the start to maybe our expansion move, right? Could be. Could be. Maybe it isn't, but it could be. So watch out for that 22.900. Watch out, of course, for our 22.800. Now, here's very clear where you can create no trade zones for yourself, right? If you don't break under 22.9, you're not going lower, right? If you don't break over 23.1, you're not going higher. So what does that mean? Chinese finger trap. That's what that means. Chinese finger trap, or NTZ, whatever you want to call it. That's your Chinese finger trap right there. 22.9 to 23.1, you're just going to do a bunch of bullshit. I mean, honestly, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. Right? You're going to just do nothing. So that's probably not the best spot to be trading the SPY and Qs for continuation. Could you trade it for scalp short, scalp long? Sure, you could look to fade 23.1. You could look to long 22.9, right, on some scalps if you so please. But that is not a continuation trade. That is a no trade zone. That is a chop channel. 22.9, 23.1. Very clear. Very clear. That's probably the worst area of the day to be trading. If you can break this low at 22.9, you probably get a pretty decent 100-point drop towards 22.8, right? If you clear out 23.1, you probably get a decent 100-point move towards 23.2. So I would possibly look to target these two areas here for trading and not target this area, right? You sort of want it outside of this zone. If you break 22,780, again, that's our major breakdown point. That would probably give you a move down into the daily 20 SMA. And as you can see from the title of this live stream, watch out for the daily 20s that are sort of catching up. This is a time correction, my friends. We talk about this all the time. What happened previously on this market? A time correction, right? The NASDAQ was extended over its daily 20, right? You can see right here, daily 20, we were extended over it. You did pull back to it, but you sort of traded sideways until that daily 20 sort of caught up the price action. When that happened, bam, explosion. Chopped cheese, Chinese finger traps. Yeah, I was going to say chopped cheese. It's actually funny you say that. Chop zone, chopped cheese. Same thing, right? You're failing. You're failing to break out, but you're not breaking down, right? You're failing to break out, but you're not breaking down. And what is that allowing the market to do? That's allowing the daily 20 to catch up the price action, right? Look at every day. Every day it's skipping up about 100 points, about 50 points a day. 60 points there, right? Another, but 60 points there. Another 60 points here, right? Every day, this daily 20 skipping up 60 points, 60 points, 60 points, 60 points, 60 points, right? Eventually, it's going to be meeting price action. And when that happens, this happens, right? And that could be very well what you're waiting for here. Maybe until data's over, maybe on an earnings catalyst, right? Whatever that might be, this is still very much possible, and I would continue to watch where that daily 20 catches up to. Because really this is just a time correction. You're trading sideways. You're not failing to correct. You're just trading sideways to correct. Averages are catching up. So still very bullish, guys. You know, I know there's some clear failures here, right? There's still clear failures. Still definitely some looks like rejections to move higher. But that doesn't mean that we're going to drop. That's just simply not what that means. To drop, right, we need to break under this, I think, 780 low. That would be the only time I'd say, all right, maybe there's some cracks in the foundation if you can break this low right here. Without that break, there's no breaks. Without that break, there's no drops. This is the flush point right here. This is where the door starts to creep open for the downside. Okay? So, the Oki special 22.8 right there, right there. 23.1. It's pretty damn clean, man. Same exact channels. I mean, it doesn't look that exciting, does it? It really doesn't. S&P 500, the exact same low. No difference. I might as well just start I probably should just start opening up the futures account and just start long in 62.6 on the ES in the after hours, because that's been the best trade of the month, right? Just long 62.6 in the after hour session, and you're making a shitload of money every time, right? So right here, after hour session, right here, after hour session, and right here again, after hour session. Not a bad trade. I'm sure someone out there is doing it. Same exact spot, 62.60 on the ES. There's no difference. It's the exact same channel low, still holding up. It's still bullish until that breaks. If that breaks, you go back to previous all-time highs, and guess what? Guess what's catching up to previous all-time highs now, my friends? Look at that daily 20, right? Now, wouldn't that be interesting? A pullback to the daily 20, a pullback to previous all-time highs, a pullback to 62.25. That could very well be the move you need. Or, all right, this thing just catches up every day, and eventually you're going to get the explosion move. So, watching that 62.25, that's still a very interesting area down here in the market. I'm sure there is tons of buys set up here at this level. This would be a very interesting spot if we can get a pullback to that level. What in the hell? 62.25, 61.80. You're still holding 61.60. To the upside, you got a lot of landmines today, man. You got a lot of landmines to the upside. I really don't even enjoy looking for upside continuation here. This 62.90 yesterday low to 6,300 is going to be really tough. If we go to the 5-minute chart, look at the 6,300 failure yesterday. 6,300 tried to hold. You failed 63.15. you got, look at this rejection in the day at 63. I mean, pretty incredible. Unfortunately, it was end of day. But, I mean, the fact that we basically flat topped at 6,300 to end the day is wild. I mean, for the last hour of the market, you basically just stayed exactly under 6,300. Like on a flat top. That's pretty nuts. Look at this. I've never seen such a clean high. Bam, 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 bam on the 1 minute chart. And then eventually you get your move. So pretty damn nice. And that makes me very, I don't want to say concerned, but that makes me very aware that, hey, I probably shouldn't long back into this level, right? It's probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea to long right back into 63 and the 62.90, right? That doesn't look that good. So I really don't like that. That would also be longing back into, some of these previous lows here, this low here, these lows, 62.90, 6,300. Doesn't really look that inviting to be long into. If you can get back above 62.90, 6,300, then maybe you get sort of that move back to 63.15, right? If you get over 63.15, then I think it gets more interesting back for the high a day, or the all-time high. So 63.15, 63.15, 63.15. Look at that 63.15 sitting there. If you can reclaim, right, I would probably say if you can reclaim the 62.90 low, you probably will get some kind of reclaim ripper, to be honest, right? You probably will. And that could definitely take out 63, right? If you can get a reclaim above 62.90 here, and you see this start to hold up today, right? You probably get your sort of rip like this. I would assume that's a very high possibility, right? If you can hold that 62.90. If you can hold back above this low a day yesterday, you probably get that juice, right? So something to watch. I mean, that's technically not low a day. Low a day is actually like right here, which you're holding. 60. Oh shit, that's 62.75. We had 62.75 at one point. It's just, every day there's a little bit of a different read in this channel. But yeah, 62.75, not bad. I'm not going to put it on my charts. I'm more focused on the 62.90. If you can reclaim rip 62.90, that could be a little sexy trade to look for. It's dangerous, it's risky, but it definitely could be sexy. 62.90, a little reclaim ripper, definitely possible. You'll have to be careful of the 10-point rejection, right, at 6,300 still. But if you can get that, I would look for it, little one of these. And then, I mean, you could just wait for 63 as well. You could just say, I'm going to wait for 63. You got to navigate. I mean, this is just navigation of tight channels, man. This is scalp trading, right? Maybe a long of 62.90 to 63, long over 63 into 63.15, right? Maybe a long over 63.15 into 35. I mean, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to watch these levels as you trade throughout the day. And just be careful of, these previous reactions at these spots. You could get a long, right? You could get complacent. These highs could come in and you could do this. Right? The same exact way you did this. And this. And this. Right? And this. Right? It's the same thing. So today you could get a long, but if you get complacent and then you say the market's rigged when you fail straight down off 63.15, all right, guys, that's your own fault. Right? You have to take accountability for those things. And I'm sure a lot of you are warming up to that idea as you come to the live stream every day, right? You guys know, but there's newer traders out there that are long into 63.15, which is like 5 days in a row a very clear rejection, and then they say that the market's rigged and they quit trading. I mean, right? That can't be the thing we're doing, okay? Can't be. So very clear high, 63.15. Be aware of it. Make sure you're understanding of it. Definitely a spot, and it's not rigged. It's just a rejection point. So next, SPY. 625 is our 63.15 on SPY. You can see right here, 625, 625, 625, 625, 625. Definitely big there. So that'll definitely be a spot to be careful of on the long side. Right here into 625. You can see the rejections yesterday under this level. So that's very clear, 625. Right here, our 62.90. Right here, our 62.90 spot. Actually, it's like 62.90, 6,300. That is our SPY 623, right? 623, that's our spot right there. That's our 62.90 right here on the ES. 623 on the SPY. You can see lows right here, and that is somewhere I would be careful of today. So 623, 625, a little bit cautious up into these. You know, if you are longing back into those levels, I would be very careful of that. Now, the question I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering is, you know, do I short 623 for a move back to these lows? And, you know, yes, it's possible, but here's what I would say, okay? Here's what I would say about that trade. That trade would be you shorting at the bottom third of a channel, right? So let's think about this channel. A channel has 3 quadrants. That quadrants is 4, so that doesn't make sense. A channel has 3 sections, right? There's 3 sections to a channel. There's the middle shit zone, right? Right here. That's the shit zone. There is the risk reward short, you know, the short side risk reward, and then there's the long side risk reward. All right? So this is where you should be shorting. This is where you should be longing, and this is where you're just trading in complete shit. Right? So do I want to short a channel on the lower third of the channel? Probably not. Where would I want to start to consider shorts? When we're failing the highs of a channel, not when we're failing lower and I'm looking to short the downside continuation through these lows, right? That's probably not a good idea. That was not a good idea last Monday. It was not a good idea last Tuesday. It was definitely not a good idea Wednesday. It was the short was a good idea Thursday as you hit the channel highs, right? The short was definitely not a good idea Friday into Monday, and it's probably not going to be a good idea today. Why would today be any different? Because of ego? Because of bias? Sure, right? That's the only reason it's any different. Has ego and bias ever taken you anywhere? Probably not. So for me, when I look at technicals, I try to create a story based off technical analysis. Is the story here to short into channel lows? No. I don't care if it happens. Right? I don't care if it happens, right? You'll get a Timmy and a Jimmy coming back on the live stream tomorrow and saying, Desi said not to short, we're down 4%. What an idiot, right? That's just, you know, that's not how you trade. You trade based off the probabilities of what's likely to happen off of past information, right? That's not a short right now. This is not the spot to be entering short side. If you break these lows, then of course it's a time to short, right? If you break these lows and reject this low, then that's your time to short, right? If you have the lows, you start to fail them, you know, then that's a short side trade into 62.25. But that needs to happen first, right? That needs to happen first. QQQ. I sort of like this higher low on Qs. I'm not going to lie right now on the SPY. Or on the Qs, you can see right here, right, the 555 spot. That's been a very important spot for us, guys. 555. We've seen it show up a few times, like throughout the day. You're always looking at 555 Qs. So this is an interesting hold right here. 555 Qs. If that can hold on, I'm definitely not interested in shorting if that holds, right? 555 is definitely a big spot. We've seen it react a lot lately. If you're holding 555, I would throw out all the short ideas you have. If you break under 555, maybe there's a short, right, into channel lows. But again, I don't love that because you're shorting into the channel low. But is there a scalp? Sure, right? Is there a 5-10 minute scalp maybe on a 2-minute chart where you can maybe look for a break and retest rejection of 555 for maybe like 10-15%? Sure, right? That's there. But you have to understand what you're trading. You're not trading a downside breakdown. You're trading just a scalp short under key level. So 555, that's key. That breaks. You're probably going to 552, right, to give back this move. If you hold 555 on a higher low here, right, a low, higher low, if you hold that, then I don't mind this pushing back into this 557, right, which could be a rejection. So this is your shit zone, right? This is your $2 range, no trade shit zone. NTSZ. That's your $2 range there, right? And I would look for trades here, right? Or here. Those would be the scalp trades you could look for today, right? Break and hold above 557 back in the 560. Break and hold below 555 back in the 552. These are decent scalp trades, right? But these are short-term trades because you're only scalping into a high, shorting into a low, and you're taking profits like every 2 minutes into this push. So you don't get something like this against you, or this. You don't want that. That's what happens when you hold too long in a channel. So those are interesting. I don't mind the higher low here at 555. This would be the first sign of like a higher low inside of the channel, right? What you're trying to find here is higher lows within the channel. Right now, you have not established a higher low in the channel. You have just traded the same levels, right? Is this the first sign of a higher low? If it is, then maybe this is starting to signal something. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if it holds. If it doesn't hold, well, then you're just sort of back in the shit. And you're just right back to these lows. So 552 to 549 is definitely a dangerous spot to be looking short side. You can see all this noise here, right? A lot of wick holds, you know, anywhere in this zone. Not that interesting. That's your major channel low. Under 549, you probably get that juice to the daily 20, right? At 544. But yeah, 557, 555, pretty damn clean. Little bit of a channel there. Back down to the 552, back up to the 560 would be the expansion moves. And that's that. SMH, little pullback yesterday, 289. Watch out for 289 today. If 289 fails, semis are going lower. ASML reported earnings today and is sort of bringing down the sector slightly. Some recoveries going on though, and honestly, the big names really aren't breaking down a whole hell of a lot. So not too worried about that ASML report right now. But 289, if that does fail, then guess what? You're trading right back between 285, 289, right? And you're leaving some trap buyers up here, no doubt. All right, trap buyers that longed on a gap up, right? So if you long the SMH on a gap up after this straight up move, yeah, you're trapped as shit right now because this thing is right back under 289. If this fails 289, guess what? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And that right there is called trapped buyers, right? Not trade brigade, trapped buyers. So 293, 289, right? A little bit dangerous there. If we fail 289 today, which is sort of looking very possible, that could be a little bit nasty on the semis. Might need your pullback to 285. IWM, what are the small caps? Oh. So this is possibly the pullback you've been waiting on the IWM, my friends. Yeah, I would not. Ooh, okay. This is sort of interesting, actually. Eunice, thank you, brother. $4 donation. Sorry I missed that. Payne, thanks for the coffee, my friend. 217.50, 215. Look at this zone here. Daily 200, daily 20. Ooh, this is interesting right here. Yeah, this could really be your pullback opportunity you've been waiting on, right? This is that time where you're like, oh man, I want to pull back on IWM. I need to pull back to 217.50. You get the pullback and then you hate it, right? Why? Why do you hate it now? Why'd you want to long here and not on the pullback, right? So this is an interesting spot. Watch 215, 217. Watch that daily 20, daily 200 SMA. Interesting little semiconductor opportunity, or sorry, interesting little small cap opportunity maybe today. I would look to see if you can just sort of maintain this zone down here for a few days or maybe even just a day. Interesting. Let's get a quick look at Bitcoin. Nice hold on Bitcoin. I'm sort of keeping eyes on coin and MicroStrategy very closer. You got a nice pullback on Bitcoin after this sort of frothy move higher, which is great. You're holding that 116. I think if you can clear this 120,000 level on Bitcoin, it might be time to be looking a little bit more seriously into Coinbase and MSTR today. Right here, these $120,000 lows, right here and right here, I'll be looking to see if that turns into support. If Bitcoin holds above that today, it could be time to be looking at Coin and MSTR on some breakout moves. So, yeah, definitely watching some Bitcoin action today. If we can hold above, if we can get it back above that 120. I wanted to see Bitcoin fill this gap, but it looks like it sort of failed to do that yesterday, and it might not, right? It may have sort of attracted some shorts to look for the gap fill, but it quickly reversed off that level. And it actually broke under the lows, and I think trapped a lot of people here yesterday. So you can see right here, there was some very clear lows that it trapped below right here, and it sort of fueled the upside. So this might not give you the gap fill for now. So something to watch. 120,000 on Bitcoin. Sort of interesting. All right. It's PPI day. Let's see how the market reacts to PPI. Let's see if it gives us the big flush to the daily 20. Let's see if it sort of continues the upside, or let's see if it does absolutely nothing. Press that like button. Por favor. 2,600 people here, 800 likes. That's terrible. That's less than a third. I should run an ad while CPI hits. I should run it right now. Oh! All right. A little bit of upside. Okay. Let's look at the NQ. Okay, 23.1. PPI lower than expectations. That's good. 23.1. 6,300. 623. Q's 557. This little higher low is sort of sexy right now. Yeah, is this the start? Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna break? Are we gonna get a good end of week, man? This could really set up a good end of week if we can get this higher low to form. It would be lovely to get that. Circle? What's Circle doing? Yeah, Circle's still off the 195. We'll get into some, what's Bitcoin doing? What are the crypto names doing? Okay, Bitcoin not moving so much. What's MSTR doing? A little bit of upside. What's Coin up to? Okay, Coin's getting a little pop. All right. Yeah, I'm really interested in these Bitcoin names today, man. I am. I think there's, like, Coinbase is consolidating so well above these. Look at this on Coinbase, man. This just looks special. Look at that on Coin, man. Look at this. 4 hour. Look at this. That is really nice looking, man. Little bit of a flag. If we can get a breakout over 400, this is a special move. I would absolutely be watching that. That's my top watch of the day by far. Yeah, Circle is you got to get this high to break though, guys. Circle, it's like a spicy Latina where it's, you know, it's basically like you're on a treadmill and she's standing right in front of it. You know, you got to get over this 210, 213. You got to. Without that, you're sort of just, you're running into a wall here. So let's see. Maybe we get it today. All right. So pop on PPI, but is it doing anything that makes me think this can't fail? No. No, it's not. Right? Look. 23.1. Look at what's happening. Not good. It's no bueno. Can you hold 23.50 here, though? That could be nice. Got to get back over 23.1 today, guys. Got to get back over 23.1. That is a must. If you can get back over 23.1, I would feel much quicker. Or much quicker. Much safer. Much more convicted. Much more conviction on the long side. If you can get a hold over 23.1. Okay? Same thing on the ES. I need this to hold over. This could be your reclaim ripper we just talked about, my friends. Look at this. Don't say it ain't so, man. Say it ain't so right now in the pre-market what we just game planned. Huh? I mean, it's exactly what we just talked about, is it not? Little hold back above 62.90. I mean, look at this thing. Look at that. Break. Retest 62.90. That could definitely send it. That is a very, very, very clean watch. 62.90, see if it can hold. It's got to get over 6,300, though. It's got to get over 6,300, guys. Anything under 63 still has failure risk. Okay? Very much failure risk. And if you fail back under 62.90, this is going down. Got to watch these levels, man. It's not set yet. It's dangerous. 623's got to hold here. Big time. QQQ is rejecting. It looks like it's more like 557.50 here. Yep, 557.50. Still rejecting. All right. Let's look at some stocks. Tesla. So Tesla got back above the 312, right? Right here. Tesla's back above 312 after holding 308 lows. So you can see right there, Tesla sort of right back up. Not interested in trading this. You can look for 312 pullback longs. You can look for 308 pullback longs. If you long 312, your target is the daily 20, daily 200 at 316. 320 perfect failure yesterday. This was our watch yesterday, right? We said don't long into 320. This could be a major fail. Bam, straight down all day. So very clear 320. I'm just going to wait for that to break. I'm not really interested until we get above that, to be honest, guys. There's better trades to be taking. NVIDIA, AMD, semis. You can see I get a big fat buy zone here on NVIDIA. This looks, oh man, slow down NVIDIA, please, for the love of God. Right here, 169, 169, perfect hold. Look at this pullback, look at this hold. 169 lows, look at this going on right now. Nutty move on NVIDIA again, love it. 168 to 169, this is your buy zone right here. This is where you look for longs if you can get it. I'm not sure you're going to, though, to be honest. That might be gone. If we go short term, I would say a hold over 171 could be your watch today. Right here. It's like 171 to looks like 170. Yeah, like 170.85. You just saw a hold above that here in the pre-market. Anywhere between that 171 and 170.85 would be my watch here today. If you can hold above that, that would be my long. This thing's gone already. But look at these lows. Lows, highs. Look at this. If this can flip today, I would long this spot right here after this hold of this low at 169. 169, 171. If you can get that, you're probably going back to these highs, guys. All right, I'd say back to like 172.50 area, 173s. That's pretty much what I would look for. The highs here, pretty messy. It's like 172.40. Anywhere between 172.40 and 170. Yeah, I'd say up to that 173 could be sort of something to be careful of. I just put a little bit of a zone here. Just be careful of those previous day highs. And then just be careful of the, all-time high in the after hours at 173 basically. But nice breakout. Can you hold above 171 today? That's definitely a watch. AMD, oh my God. Sick pullback to the 153 level. Really clean. You have a gap below 153, but that doesn't look like it wants to get filled yet. All right, you can see a gap down to here is still sort of pending, but that does not look like it's ready for that. If you get over 157, I think it's time to look for this again. All right, over 157, break and retest above these highs. That's definitely a watch today. Broadcom, the 277 pullback is incredible. This is exactly what we longed yesterday. We took a pullback to our 277 previous day high area right here. We saw a little pullback. We longed this back to the upside, back towards 282s. Really nice trade. Could be setting up again. Let's see if 280 turns into a support. If 280 holds, you could look for that 280 level. I would say the best long is off 277, but let's see. Maybe 280 is showing you something today. MU, really not interested. MRVL, not interested. That thing's sort of dying right now. Interesting. ASML, really not that interested. I am interested in this one. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Okay. Our ARM idea. Look at this. This was our idea for the last few weeks. What was it? It was the pullback to 141.50. Look at what's happening. Pullback 141.50. You're starting to heat up. Watch this. Highs, lows, 141.50. If you can get over 152 here on ARM, this is probably one of my top watches today. Right here. 152 here. Let's see if we can get a hold above 152. You got to hold above it, though. Daily 20s right there, 152s right here. That's a major rejection point, but if you can turn it into support, I like that a lot. 152 on ARM, watching that closely. So Semiconductors, watching AMD, NVIDIA, and ARM. Those are my three watches there on the semis. Large cap tech, Apple sort of, still setting up on the daily. Intraday price action been shit, but you are still setting this move up, man. I'm not going to lie. So you should still keep watching it. We just got to see when it wakes up. I'm going to wait for 215 to break to get interested in this one. 215, You have a nice flag that's forming here above these highs, but you need this to break out, right? So 215, that's going to be my watch there. Meta, still interested off these lows. Would like to see if it can catch some steam today, though. Interesting off the lows, definitely a big spot here, 708, 705 area. If you can get above 728, that's really where this thing starts going. So right now it's just sort of channeling, but definitely a nice little hold down there. Amazon, not really moving too much here, but you know, it's still holding 227, 225 zone, still very clear. Break and retest here on Amazon, previous highs, new lows, still setting up. So I'd have an alert over 227. Google, really nice hold over the 182.50 yesterday. This was our exact level from the pre-market live stream. 182, 182.50. Previous highs, look at these holds. Over 185, I think you can get this juicing. So got my alerts over 185 there. Let's go to the Bitcoin moves. Bitcoin, if we can get Bitcoin over 120,000, I think you definitely watch Coinbase and MSTR today. Coinbase held the lows very strong here yesterday, 380, 377. Even through some panic downside, it really got bought up again. So still looking pretty good here. If Coinbase can get over 400, I really think this is a watch. So Coinbase over 400, that's definitely a watch. Keeping an eye on that. And then MSTR over the 453, definitely keeping eyes on that. NASDAQ is over, did we hold 62.90? Sure did. Look at that. 62.90 into 6,300. There's your 10-point move on ES. The exact 10-point move we talked about before this even happened. Perfect. Love how the market trades off key levels, man. Let's go through my Desi TA section so I can go through and track what we looked at. Amazon, Google, we looked at. Meta, Apple, ARM, Broadcom, Oracle. Yeah, let's look at Oracle. Oracle. Interesting move lately here on Oracle. Definitely. You can see right here. Yesterday we talked about the reclaim of this 230. It did exactly that. It held 230 all day. Perfect holds. Look at this 230 yesterday. All day 230 holds. Very nice. Looks a little bit gone in terms of entry points, right? You probably want your entry point to be here at 230. So in terms of entry points, not great, but 238, 240. If you can get over 238 today, honestly, I think if you can just get over 238, if you can turn this into support, I think that's a watch. Watch 238. Datadog, watching 142 very closely. Right here, 142, 142. That is very interesting on Datadog. Daily chart, gap fill reversal. Watching 142 on Datadog today for a breakout move. You can see right here, these previous lows, these highs. If you can get a break and retest above that, I think you got room to 147. So keep an eyes on that. Palantir, the best entry on Palantir is 145. I'm just going to be upfront with you. That's the best entry. To get a pullback to these previous highs, fill this sort of gap up move. So look for 145, excuse me. If you can get that, I love it. If not, you're going to have to long 148. It's going to either be 148 or 145. Oklo, yeah, I've been watching this one. Still holding 60. Interesting still. Definitely a 60 hold still coming in. We'll have to see if it can catch some steam. But so far, I like the pullback. You know, I think it's a good consolidation move. You can see, there's a chance that you need to fill some of this straight up area back to this 57, which could be still a very nice opportunity. So pretty much anywhere between 57 and 60, you'd want to see sort of a pullback long. All right, maybe you need to fill some of this straight up move, right? Something like this. But honestly, it still looks great, I'd say. Daily chart still holding above that 57.60 zone. As long as it's above there, it's pretty good. You just need to get that, secondary juicer move here, really. Definitely still looks good, though. I would be watching it. But, the thing that concerns me for today, guys, is you might need a pullback to 57. So just be aware of that, right? If you're going to long this thing, you probably want to see, you're probably going to want to see maybe some of this sort of get filled. If it doesn't, then you're just going to rock it off 60. which is great, right? It's either here or here, guys. That's really it. I mean, it's either going to rocket off here or come back down to 57 and then go. So we'll see. It might try to shake out some hands back to 57. Lulu, sure, my friend. Appreciate that for the donation. Lululemon. This one has been one that I have sort of been against. You guys, someone asked me about this on the dip on the earnings, and my answer to that was I don't like the dip buy on Lulu, and there's a reason why. It's because I think there's too much competition for Lulu now. I think this is a different environment now for Lululemon. You have Aloe, which I wear every day. I actually personally like Aloe more. I like their clothes more. And you have Viore, which is another brand that's coming out. You have honestly, like Abercrombie and Fitch has a athletic line. Every single company, every single clothing company has come out with Lululemon-esque clothes, right? Lulu was the first to market, and everyone else copied them. So, yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of Lululemon as a stock anymore. I think there's a lot more competition than there once was. It definitely was a big fad. Like, everyone was just going absolutely berserk for Lululemon at one time. The stores were just absolutely packed. I still think it's a great company. I still think it'll be just fine, but do I think that, like, oh, it's, like, you know, as strong as it once was? Not really. I sort of think it's, like, maybe something that just sort of stays sideways for a long time and just sort of people forget about it. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it. That's just my personal, that is the social arbitrage thought process. I mean, that's just, like, to me, I just don't see it. I don't see it out in every day. I see more people every day wearing Aloe, talking about, got my, my friends talking about different stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just not interesting to me. I wouldn't buy the dip, personally. At some point, maybe it'll be worth it, but for now, it just looks sort of shit. In terms of technicals, a pretty big breakdown in terms of technicals, huh? Yeah, what's this major weekly low? This major low is 226. I mean, you're under that, so it could be sort of nasty to the downside if you want to look downside. Under 226, I mean, this is COVID right here, guys. So you're pretty much, like, starting to trade into COVID lows, which is pretty wild for Lululemon. Yeah, I'd say if you can see something clean on an entry point under 226, it could be worth it. That's what I would look for. 226. See if you can see a rejection there. That's what I'd look for. All right, guys. That's going to be it. Let's go full-size circle. All right. There's my big face on the screen. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for all the support. If you guys could, before you head out, make sure to press that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And that's really it. Thanks for the support. If you guys are part of the Discord, just know we'll be in the mentorship trading today. So ADR in the voice chat. Hope you guys enjoy the day. And see you on Thursday. Peace and love.